Same battery, same answers, 3 times the time. Most people think the slow AI is the careful one. I tested this on 4 real contracts. It is not. So which one would you actually trust for legal work? If you run a small team and you read contracts every week, this matters. Vendor agreements, privacy policies, terms of service from tools your team uses. The slow read is 45 minutes per document. The careful read is 2 hours. Or you can drop them into an AI project and ask the questions you actually care about in plain English. I have been doing this for my own deals for months, so I decided to actually test which AI to bet on. I uploaded the same 4 agreements into Claude Projects and ChatGPT Projects. Stripe, AWS, Notion, OpenAI. I gave both the exact same 9 questions, including 3 I planted to make either one of them invent an answer. And I timed every single response. In the next 11 minutes, I will show you what happened, the exact moment one of them lost 3 minutes on a normal PDF, the trap question that proved both of them honest, and the free template you can use to run the same test on your own contracts. Let us start. Story first. 2 months ago, a friend who runs a marketing agency forwarded me her vendor contract for review. She asked one thing: just tell me if there is anything weird in there. The PDF was 58 pages. I dropped it into Claude Projects and got my answer in 2 minutes. Then I started wondering, was the answer actually right? Did I just trust it because the tool was confident? So I built a test. 9 questions across 4 real terms of service documents. 6 of them have concrete answers buried in specific sections, like the cure period for material breach, or the notice you have to give to downgrade a plan. Real questions a business owner would actually care about. And 3 of them are traps, things that sound reasonable but are not actually in the documents. AWS does not have a cryptocurrency mining clause in this agreement. OpenAI does not list its usage policies inside the services agreement. Notion does not specify API rate limits in the master subscription agreement. Same documents in both projects. Fresh new chat for each question. No memory carrying over. I pasted the same question into Claude. I pasted it into ChatGPT. I watched both answer. I logged everything. Single run per question, no majority voting. Just speed and accuracy on one shot. At the end, I had 2 timestamps. Claude finished the full battery in 16 minutes 48 seconds. ChatGPT finished in 5 minutes 56 seconds. Same answers on every single question. But before I tell you what that means, I have to show you where Claude lost most of those minutes, because it happened on a question so simple I almost did not record it. Question 3. How many days notice do you have to give Notion to downgrade your plan? I knew the answer, 60 days. It is right there in section 4.2. ChatGPT pulled it up in 10 seconds, quoted the right section, and moved on. I switched windows, same question into Claude, and Claude said, working, then said, install OCR tools, then said, run OCR on all pages. OCR, the thing you do when a PDF is a scanned image. This was not a scan. This was a clean text PDF that the model could have just read like a normal document. ChatGPT read it like a normal document. But for some reason, Claude looked at the same file and decided it had to extract every page as an image and run optical character recognition on 24 pages. 2 minutes later, it gave me the answer, 60 days. Verbatim quote from section 4.2. Same answer ChatGPT gave me in 10 seconds. The output was correct. The path to it was 4 times longer than necessary. And then it happened again. 3 more questions. 3 more times, Claude self-classified the same clean PDF as scanned images and ran an OCR pipeline. The first time I thought it was a fluke. By the 4th time, it was a pattern. Same documents, same project, same files Claude had already successfully read in earlier questions. And on a fresh chat, it would sometimes just decide, this is a scan, I need to OCR it. To be clear, the answer was always correct. Every single time the OCR completed, Claude gave me the right number and quoted the right section, verbatim against the source. The model was not wrong. It was just spending 3 to 4 times longer to get to the same place. And that is the gap. That is the 3x. 10 minutes and 52 seconds of extra waiting, across 9 questions, on the same files, for identical answers. If you run a test like this once a week on real vendor docs, that is 45 minutes of your life every month staring at a model, deciding whether a normal PDF is actually a fax. Multiply by 12 months, 9 hours of waiting, for nothing extra in the answer, which brings me to the part that surprised me more than the speed gap. Going into this, I was sure one of them would hallucinate. Make up a clause, quote a section that does not exist, That is what people complain about with AI every day in every Reddit thread. So I planted 3 questions specifically designed to bait that behavior. AWS cryptocurrency mining, OpenAI usage policy categories, Notion API rate limits. None of these exist in the documents I uploaded. I pasted the AWS crypto question into ChatGPT. 10 seconds, 5 words. Not present in the provided documents. No quote. No invented citation. No making up a clause that sounds about right. Just, no, this is not in there. Same question into Claude. Same outcome. Took longer, also refused to invent. But Claude added something ChatGPT did not. Claude explained where the answer actually lives. It said, the agreement references an acceptable use policy by URL, and that policy is a separate document I do not have access to. So if you want a real answer to your question, you need to fetch that linked document. All 3 traps. Both AIs, 0 made-up answers. Both told me when they did not know. And here's the important part for anyone reading contracts. The most dangerous failure mode in this kind of work is not slow, it is confident and wrong. A model that invents a clause that sounds plausible is the model that gets you sued. Neither did that here, not even once. So if you were worried that ChatGPT would lie to you on a contract, or that Claude would invent a clause to look smart, I have at least 9 data points saying that did not happen here. On this test, both were honest, which means you actually get to pick the one that fits the work you do, not the one that lies less. And that picker comes down to one more thing I have to show you. Question 8. I made this one different on purpose. I asked both AIs to tell me the data retrieval timeline from the AWS agreement after termination, but I added a constraint: quote the exact section number and quote the first 10 words of that subsection verbatim. Both delivered. Perfect, verbatim, word for word, the exact phrase in the exact order from the actual section. ChatGPT did it in 10 seconds. Claude did it in 90 seconds with a structured comparison table next to it, but both got it right. So at the end of the test, I had a clean tie on the question that was supposed to separate them. Except, on the very first question, when I did not tell either of them to quote verbatim, Claude did it anyway, 3 times in a row, word for word from the source. ChatGPT, on the same question, paraphrased every time. It got the answer right, but it tightened the language a little. Dropped a word here, swapped this agreement for the agreement there. So the pattern is, Claude treats quoting like a discipline. It will give you the exact words even when you do not ask. ChatGPT treats quoting like a style choice. It will paraphrase to be readable. Then, if you tell it to be exact, it will. Both are fine, they just have different defaults. And which default you want depends on what you are doing with the answer. If a partner is going to read it, you want verbatim. If a teammate just wants the gist on Slack, you want the short paraphrase. Here is what I came out with. Claude is the right pick when you want the model to behave like a careful junior lawyer. It will quote verbatim, it will add nuance, it will tell you what the document does and does not say. ChatGPT is the right pick when you want the model to behave like a senior associate. It assumes you trust it, gives you the punchline first, and only adds detail if you ask. For a quick read, where you just want the answer, ChatGPT will save you minutes per question. For a board memo or a contract red line, where you need to defend the quote in front of a partner or a client, Claude gives you the structured backup you can paste straight in. Different tools for different days. And the math is real. 11 minutes saved per battery, run once a week, is 44 to 56 minutes a month, almost a full hour, just from picking the faster tool on the kind of work where both give the same answer. If you do client legal review for 10 contracts a month, the gap is closer to 2 full hours of work you can spend on something else. That is the entire point. Same answers, same accuracy. Pick on speed when nothing else matters. Pick on style when it does. If you want to run the same test on your own vendor agreements, the 9 questions and the scoring rubric are in the description. It is a Google Drive folder, no email gate. Take it, swap in your own documents, time both AIs, and see which one fits your workflow better. One specific ask. When you run yours, look for the moment one of the tools makes a weird choice. The OCR moment for me. Maybe yours is different. Maybe ChatGPT trips on a question Claude nails. I want to see those. Drop the timestamp in the comments and tell me what document you were testing. I am building a list. If this is useful, hit subscribe. New tests like this every Tuesday. Real contracts, real numbers, no code required. If you have not seen the last one on Claude habits that cost you 10 hours a week, that is up next on the left. And the one on AI tools that actually pay for themselves drops next Tuesday. See you then.